Hello, everybody. Steve, the 21st Century Father, here with a unusual pre-recorded video. For the past couple months, I've been streaming, and also my setup here is even a little bit more primitive than it usually is. I'm still repainting this attic bonus room where I have all of my games set up and everything, and so I'm kind of stuck back here in the corner for the moment. But anyway, I wanted to talk about something today, real quick, because I see this come up a lot in chats and especially at review text streams where people ask if Nintendo will ever release a Nintendo 64 Classic or a Nintendo 64 Mini. Now, we've seen Nintendo release classic mini versions of the original NES and the Super NES, so everyone thinks right off the bat an N64 mini is inevitable. But I don't think it is, and I have three main reasons why. Number one, Nintendo does not like to release old games as is. They like to remaster. We've seen a number of remasters come during the Switch era, and probably more to come. There's rumors that Mario 64 and some other older Mario games are going to be remastered. We've also seen Zelda remastered for the 3DS. And with very few exceptions, they don't like to put the old games, the old N64 games anyway, out there. They don't have a problem with the 16-bit and the 8-bit era games because those have a certain charm, and you can't really upgrade what they look like. The art style and the graphic style is what it is. With N64, there's more you can do. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, just play Banjo Kazooie or Banjo Tooie on the original N64, and then go to Xbox Live Arcade, if that even still exists. I suppose you'd have to do it on your Xbox 3. Whoops, Xbox 360. I lost my light. Hang on a second. Okay, that's better. As I was saying, you'd have to go to Xbox 360, probably to Xbox Live Arcade, download the remasters of Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie. Now, granted, it's not a complete graphical overhaul, but they did upgrade the textures a little bit. The draw distance, the level of detail is further, and they run at 60 frames per second. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. You can increase level of detail. You can add more anti-aliasing. You can increase the frame rate. And a lot of these N64 games, as I will mention here in a little bit, don't hold up very well in that regard. Okay, the second reason is they don't have direct and easy access to Rareware's library. As we all know, Rareware was purchased by Microsoft. I think right around the time they were coming out with the original Xbox, Nintendo chose not to purchase Rareware because they had done so much work with them over the previous decade and had a lot of success. They probably felt that they had done their bit for King and Country, and it was just, time to move on. And I think it was their games were generally expensive too. So they chose not to buy them. Microsoft got them. And now Microsoft, as we've seen, has come out with games like Killer Instinct that they've redone. They did a remaster of Conker's Bad Fur Day. Then they came out with the Rare Replay, which had a number of the older games on it: Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie. I think Perfect Dark was on it, and the Conker remaster, I believe, was also on it. I didn't. I never had an Xbox One, so I'm not 100% familiar with what's on that. But you get the picture. The only thing Nintendo really has access to is Donkey Kong stuff. We all know that Donkey Kong 64 has been on the Virtual Console, so they have that. They, I think they probably have access to Diddy Kong Racing. I'm not sure. There were rumors that they were going to make that for the 3DS, and it never happened. So if you come out with a Nintendo Mini and you don't have any of those Rareware games on it, Banjo games, GoldenEye, uh, Perfect Dark, Conquer, you're going to be missing out on quite a bit. Okay, the third reason is the graphics on the N64 just don't hold up very well. We're talking about the pioneering days of 3D graphics in video games that didn't make you want to vomit when you looked at them. Sometimes you would anyway, but at least on the N64 is a little bit better. And I have some of you have been following my channel know I've been streaming for the past couple months, and I've streamed a few N64 games, and the graphics just don't hold up that well. It's primitive looking compared to today. Now I get it. Yeah, everybody knows it's an old game. We're not expecting perfection, but it's difficult to play, when it's like that, especially when you have a game that, constantly dips to 20 frames per second. You almost have to make a lot of concessions while you're playing, just in order to get through it. And like I said, my first point was that Nintendo would rather remaster these games and make them better rather than just release them as they were on a classic console. Now, I know Sony has done the PS1 Classic and basically put out the games that were on that as is. Keep in mind, Sony and Nintendo are not the same company. While I'm sure the N64 Mini would probably sell very well, Nintendo does not like to release things unless they're of a certain standard. They could shovel out a lot of crap. And yeah, I know we're getting a lot of remasters and remakes from Nintendo, but at least they're remasters. They're not going to take Mario 64 and say, here's a Switch version of Mario 64, but we've done nothing to it. They're not going to do that. So, those are my reasons why I don't think Nintendo is going to have a Nintendo 64 Classic. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Maybe there's something I've overlooked. Let me know in the comments. And we'll probably see you on the next stream.